What up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all over the world? Y'all know what time it is when y'all see me, but this is the wrong stream. Actually, it's not the wrong stream. It is the right stream. I just got the wrong background. There we go. I apologize. But I know what time it is when y'all see me. It is Chilltown Hoops. Y'all know what it is. Talk pro basketball around here, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And tonight, we may be crowning a Western Conference champion, right? Tonight, we may be crowning a champion and moving on to the NBA Finals. And a lot of y'all, which I think is interesting, that we don't honor, conference championships. There's some people, my man, one of my good buddies, my big fella, Big Ox, he's got this idea of moving to a 16-team playoff and eliminating conference championships. I'm not one of those people, but I'm down to try it, right? I'm down to try it off the strength that let's see if we could get let's see if we could get something different, right? Let's see if we could get something different. So with that being said, we still are here, right? We're still here. We're still dealing with the Western Conference Championship, and you still, in order to get to the NBA championship, you still got to get through the conference finals. That still has to happen. All right. So with that being said, right? So with that being said, we're in a space now where this Oklahoma City Thunder team, this Oklahoma City Thunder team is doing something that hasn't been done defensively in NBA history. The amount of turnovers that they cause, the amount of transition buckets that they accumulate throughout with these turnovers. So I would love to see this season get extended to a Game 7. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I'm here for it. I would be lying to you if I said I wasn't, because I 100% am here for it. With that being said, I think that this Oklahoma City team has exposed a major flaw in Anthony Edwards' game, which we see this throughout the course of great players' careers. So when we see a great player and we see him growing and turning into a great player, we see the things that they need to work on in order to become what we think that they can become. We see that. So, for example, when I remember when Jordan was coming up. All right, well, when Jordan was coming up and he couldn't get past the Detroit Pistons, Scottie Pippen needed to get stronger. Michael Jordan needed to be a better passer. They needed to be tougher. You could see that with this group, but as time went on, you could see that they were getting better at that stuff. You could see after 88 and 89 and after 89 and 90, you could see that they were getting closer. Now, I can tell you right now, if that was going on today, that crew wouldn't be together because the masses wouldn't allow it. The masses would not allow for the Bulls to stay together for as long as they stayed together. It would be exactly what it is every summer. Like, we got to trade Scottie Pippen. We got to trade Michael Jordan. We got to trade, like, Michael Jordan needs to get out of Chicago. He on the team with a bunch of nobodies. He has no help. It would have been stuff like that. That would have been going on. So with that being said, this Minnesota team, there's a flaw that's been exposed in Anthony Edwards' game that needs to be worked on. He needs to learn how to be better off the basketball. Last summer, he stretched his game to the long ball line and be more consistent at being a long ball shooter. This summer, he's going to have to learn how to play off the basketball. And what I mean when I say play off the basketball, he's so used to having the ball and everything operating when he has the ball. He doesn't understand how effective he can be while playing off the basketball. He doesn't understand how to get open effectively. Like, I can't keep asking for the ball out here and moving further away from the basket. I can't keep doing that. I got to learn how to get open. I got to learn where I want to be when I get open. I want to use my defender's physicality against him. As physical as my defender is, I want to use that physicality against him. I want to catch him turning his head. I need to learn how to navigate screens on offense. I need to learn how to do this stuff without the basketball so I can be more effective. Anthony Edwards doesn't know how to do that yet. On top of that, when he has the basketball, those reads that we talk about, those are the things that he needs to understand better. Okay, the gaps weren't there. Well, maybe they were. Maybe those spots that you're looking for, maybe they aren't there to you right now because you can't see them, because you're not sophisticated enough yet. You will be, though. You 100% will be. No doubt about that. You're just not there yet. I'm on record saying I don't think Anthony Edwards is going to be a good guard. I think within the next 3 years, he's going to be the league MVP. I think within 5 years, tops, he'll be the best guard in the league. I think he's that good. I think he is that good. I think within 5 years, he's going to be the best guard in the league. And I stand on that. I'm not saying that out of the side of my mouth, or I think that maybe or possibly. No. I believe Anthony Edwards within the next 5 years, he's going to be the best guard in the game. Within the next 3 years, I think he's going to be the league MVP. Because I think that his retention rate, what I mean when I say his retention rate, his ability to learn, like he couldn't shoot the long ball. The way he shot the long ball this season, he couldn't shoot the long ball like that. And now he's telling me that he's watching tape of Luka. Okay, well, I don't mind you watching tape of Luka, because what that can do is that can help you as a ball handler be more of a playmaker. Okay, I can get with that part. What I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to watch tape of guys playing off the ball and understanding how to get open, understanding how to navigate screens, understanding how to come off screens, understand how to play your defender's physicality against him to your advantage, understand how to play off the ball to get to the spots where you want to get open, and trust in your lead guard to get you the ball, or whomever has the ball, trusting your lead guard, trusting whomever to get you the ball in a space where you are the most effective. Watch those guys. Devin Booker is really good at that. Donovan Mitchell is really good at that. Really good at that. I'm thinking about other two guards. Clyde Drexler was really good at that. Joe Dumars was fantastic at that. Michael Jordan was good at that. The better two guards that I remember growing up, Kobe Bryant was great at that. Guys who knew what spots to get to in terms of getting open. And that's your job as a two guard. That's Anthony Edwards' job as a two guard, to learn how to play off. I'm not going to have the ball in my hands all the time. I'm not. There's going to be times when I don't have the ball in my hands and I need to learn how to play without the ball. I need to learn how to play off the ball, cutting to the basket, cutting to spots where I'm effective. I don't have to have the ball in my hands all the time to be effective. And I don't think that he knows how to play without the ball yet. And I think that that's something that he's learning. I think we're in year 4. Now, I think we're in year 4. We're going into year 5. All right, we're going into year 5. So we get into that space where this is probably who this guy is. So we have to accept some common ground with him. My man Smokey hits me with the chat. He says, chill. Hope you're good, brother. Look for the Raptors next season. They're gonna be this year's Detroit in the East. We can't be calling them trash next season. That's interesting. That is really interesting. But I'm confident that Anthony Edwards is going to learn that. Now, what I also recognize is what we do when we have guards who look like they're becoming the next great guard. Immediately what happens is that guard gets compared to X guard from the past. And what we do to make it worse is we compare him to that player. Like, he's this good of a guard, instead of SGA is the guard of this era. Anthony Edwards is the guard of this era. Like, he doesn't have to be Michael Jordan. He doesn't have to be Kobe Bryant, right? He doesn't have to be that. He could just be Anthony Edwards, the generational guard of this era. Of course, you're going to compare him to the guards of the past, but in this era, in this style of play, what this generation, what sets SGA apart from the other guards in the game? I'm not going to get into what makes him better than Kobe Bryant or what makes him as good as Michael Jordan or James Harden. Nah, what I want to talk about is what sets him apart from the rest of the guards in this era. What makes him better than Anthony Edwards? What makes him better than Donovan Mitchell? Right? What clears him? What separates him from Devin Booker? Why are him and Jaylen Brown not in the same category in terms of guards? I ain't even talking about lead guards. I'm just talking about guards, period. Why aren't they in the same conversation? What's the separation between him and Luka? And what I find myself doing is I find myself getting wrapped up in the scoring guard when I'm a huge fan of the Stocktons of the world, even though I don't want to use the word Stocktons plural, because there aren't any players like Stockton. Oh, there aren't any guys like him. Stockton was elite on both sides of the ball. He was efficient on both sides of the ball. That's who John Stockton was, right? So I say that to say, if I've always been in love with the conventional lead guard, and you guys are telling me that, yo, that guard isn't as effective today, well, that's Tyrese Haliburton. That's Trae Young. That's guys like that. That's guys who will get off the peel. That's guys who will pass. That's guys who are effective. And we live in a copycat league, guys. So with living in a copycat league, I can tell you right now, if this formula works, there's going to be teams that see this and go, we need that. Now, we might not be able to get Tyrese Haliburton. We might not be able to get Trae Young, but we need something like we need that kind of mold. That's what I'm looking for. So with that being said, I should be more into Tyrese Haliburton than I am. And I'm going to get more into him. And the reason why is because he is everything, right? He is everything that the conventional point guard, he is everything about a point guard that I love. Right? He is everything he is everything, even though he's not elite on the defensive side of the basketball, he is everything that I love about a point guard. How he controls the pace of the game, not only how he controls the pace of the game, not only how he controls the pace of the game, how smart he is with the peel, not just how smart he is with the peel, how decisive he is when he makes a decision. It's not no. He knows exactly where he's going with it. He knows exactly who he's getting the ball to. He knows exactly where he wants to go. And a decision is made. And he's there, right? So with that being said, I should be way more into him, and I will pay a lot more attention to Tyrese Haliburton next season than I have. Because I want to say probably 2 or 3 years ago, I said that Tyrese Haliburton, I said that I think that he's going to be in the conversation as the best lead guard in the game. And I feel like we're approaching that. I do. I feel like we are approaching that conversation. I don't think that Tyrese Haliburton is. I don't think that he's paid attention to as much as, like I said, as much as I feel like I should have. Now, don't get me wrong. I still think Luka is at the top of the food chain just because of how good of a scorer he is, but I do think that you could be a better scorer or a better player than a player, but that dude would be a better lead guard or two guard than you. I'm on record saying I think Havlicek is a top 20 player all the time. I think Scottie Pippen was a better small forward than him, though. I think Havlicek was a better player. I think Scottie Pippen was a better small forward. I think that Steph Curry is a better player than John Stockton. And there's no way that I will ever argue Steph Curry being a better player than John Stockton. I think John Stockton was a better lead guard than Steph Curry. I think that that's the difference, right? I do. I do feel like that with players being, I feel like with players being that, right? I feel like with players being that, right? I feel like with players being that, I have allowed myself not to decipher the two and allow Tyrese Haliburton to be that lead guard that I think he is. I mean, I think Jalen Brunson is a better player than him. I'm not going to argue that. I do. I think Jalen Brunson is a better player than him. And I don't think that as a lead guard, a guy that I want to give the basketball to and I want him to run my unit, I'm not doing that over Tyrese Haliburton. I'm not. I can't do that. Not because I don't think Jalen Brunson is a better player. I just think that with the style of play that I'm interested in, the distributor that I'm looking for, I'm giving the ball to Tyrese Haliburton. He had 12 assists and 1 turnover. Not only did he have 12 assists and 1 turnover, he had 11 assists and 1 turnover. I want that dude running my crew. That's the dude I want running my crew. Now, he might not be the bucket getter that Brunson is or Luka is, but if I'm giving the basketball, if I'm giving the basketball to my lead guard, and even if he is the center of it as the primary ball handler, I think that he's just going to get everybody that's involved on my crew. I think he's going to get everybody involved in the game. Everybody. 100% he's going to do that. So with that being said, right, with that being said, I think that this Oklahoma City team getting back to the NBA Finals since 2012, which was 13 years ago, them getting back to the NBA Finals, I think this is a big deal for them. I don't want to compare SGA to Bryant because SGA in year 7 to Kobe Bryant in year 7, I think Bryant is a better player. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to compare him to his counterparts. What is SGA? Who is SGA compared to the other guards in the league today? And in this because when we talk about generational players, you can talk about a guy in this generation. You can 100% do that. You can talk about a guy in this generation being that kind of player. You don't have to talk about a guy from 2 or 3 different generations. Nah, you can talk about a guy being a generational player from this generation because we got different generations of players. And that means that, well, can SGA play 20 years ago? I know Tyrese Haliburton can. So if Tyrese Haliburton can play 20 years ago, I think SGA can too. I don't know if I can say that about every guard in this generation. I'm not sure about that. I'm not saying that there aren't guards in this game who aren't fantastic. I think that Damian Lillard would light up the 2000s. Right? I do. I think that he would light up the 2000s. And when I think about guys like Chauncey Billups and Steve Nash, Steve Francis, Marbury, Jason Kidd, Rondo, like I'm thinking about guards like that. And I think Damian Lillard would be awesome if we took Damian Lillard and dropped him in 2004. If we took Tyrese Haliburton and dropped him in 2003, he'd be awesome. If we took SGA and we dropped him, thanks, Jake. I appreciate it, brother. If we took SGA and dropped him in 2005, he'd be great. He would definitely be amongst the better league, the better two guards, Bryant, Brandon Roy, Ray Allen, Vince Carter. He'd be right there. He'd be right in the middle of that. 100% he would be. No doubt. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the separator between him and guys like Bryant, guys like Vince Carter, they play above the rim. SGA doesn't, but that's fine. I don't think that that's something that I don't think that that's something that is that much of a separator, but I do think that it is a separator. And I feel like SGA in this generation, what separates him from the other guards in the game, his ability to score, his craftiness, how he operates in that offense, how he operates in that defense. And on top of that, this Oklahoma City team, how they operate around him. Like, he's not a ball stopper. The play that is indicative to him that I remember vividly was they were just playing on Monday, and he's got the ball at the top of the key, and DiVincenzo is covering him. His cousin is in the gap. With his cousin being in the gap, J-Dub is on the wing. He sees his cousin in the gap. He freezes his cousin by directing traffic, freezes his cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and fires it over to J-Dub, who cracks a three. I mean, I feel like that's great playmaking when you shift the defense or freeze the defense like that. I think that's great. And I think that this Oklahoma City team is one for the ages. Even though I'd love to see this thing go 7, I'd love to see that. I feel like this Oklahoma City team is one for the ages, man. I do. I think that they're one of the best teams that I've seen. And I know that we got a lot of parity in the league. This is going to be the 7th different champion. Toronto, Lakers, Milwaukee, Warriors, Denver, Boston, and it could be Oklahoma City. We're going to have a 7th different champion. We got a lot of parity in the league today. And with the parity that we have, right? With the parity that we have, I feel like these teams have an opportunity to improve immediately. I mean, 2 years ago, did you really have Oklahoma City winning the NBA championship? 2 years ago when they won the play-in tournament. Did you really? Even though they were clearly building something. It was obvious that they were building something, right? Did I have them in the NBA championship in 2 years? No, I didn't. And I'm on record saying, right? I'm on record saying that I think that this Oklahoma City team, what they built over these last 2-3 years, I think they are what Memphis was supposed to be. That's who I think that they are. With that, their defense, which they translate into offense, I think it's been too much for Minnesota. I think that they've done a great job in taking both Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle out of the series in stretches. I mean, they did that with Ant in game 1, and Julius Randle went off. They did that with Julius Randle in game 2, and Ant went off. Both Ant and Julius Randle go off in game 3. And then in game 4, they take both of those guys out of the game. And then they tell all the rest of those guys, you guys are going to have to beat us. And in the process of them doing that, right? In the process of them doing that, they almost did. And to be honest with you, we'll live with that. Sure. We'll live with Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Like we'll live with Nickeil Alexander-Walker doing his thing. We'll live with DiVincenzo making 4 or 5 threes. We'll live with Naz Reid trying to get downhill. We'll live with that. 100% we will. And with us doing that, we like our chances when we take these two dudes out of the game. And I think that continues tonight. I expect this Oklahoma City team, I expect them to take Minnesota's best shot, because this is an elimination game for Minnesota. They lose, they out. So everything that you're going to get from Minnesota, I think you're going to get it early. Right? I think that whatever you get from Minnesota, right? I think that whatever you get from Minnesota, I think that you're going to get it early. And I think that Oklahoma City has an opportunity to end them. Because if you take their best shot, right? If you take their best shot and you thwart them, you break them. Right? If you I feel like with this crew, if you take their best shot, which Minnesota's going to come out firing. Anthony Edwards is going to be super aggressive. They're going to be flying all over the place. They're not going to be a team that's defeated. No way. They're a team that's going to be extremely, and I'm going to say this one more time, it's going to be a team that's extremely motivated. So with them being extremely motivated, they are going, I promise you. They're going to give Oklahoma City everything that they got. And if you can withstand that, you break them. 100% you break them. I'm confident in that. So I feel like this team, I feel like Oklahoma City got their work cut out for them. I do. I feel like they got their work cut out for them, and we're gonna see. Right? We are going to see. But I want to talk to the people for a little bit, and then I'm gonna get to it. So, what do you guys think tonight? What do you guys think is going on? What up?
Yo, chill.
Yo, what up?
You can hear me good? It's kind of lagging. All right, we good. Man, so I just got in a heated debate, man. I'm sweating bullets right now about who is the better point guard, because I'm tired of the recency bias. I was literally scrolling on Twitter and I seen Tyrese Haliburton is better than Luka, and this shit has to stop. Who is better, Ja Morant or Tyrese Haliburton? Who are you taking?
Between Ja Morant and Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton.
By far, or is
No, there is a gap. I do think, but I didn't give Ja more credit. I need to give Ja more credit, and I've started doing that this season. I need to give Ja more credit for the distributor that he is. I don't think he's as good a passer as Tyrese Haliburton, but he a better passer than I gave him credit for. A lot better. But his ability to score, I think he's more athletic, but I think Tyrese Haliburton is a little bit smarter than him. So as a point guard, I'm going to take Tyrese Haliburton over. Ja Morant.
So you think if you put Tyrese Haliburton on the Memphis Grizzlies and replace him with Ja, you think they have more success?
Yes, I do. I think they play
really
faster. Yes, I think they play faster. I think that Jaren Jackson is in better positions to score. Same thing with Desmond Bane. I think he's in better spaces to score. I think they play a lot. I already said that they play a lot faster. And I think their offense is much better.
But OG, when I go back to these games, like I watch damn near every Grizzly game. When I go back to these games and I'm looking at Ja Morant put Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane in these positions, they're not stepping up. Once the ball is in your hand and I got you in this open position, it's your job to score. I've done my job. And I don't think that the Grizzlies as a whole team is stepping up. But I'm looking at Ja's performances. I'm talking about the 47, 8, and 10 against Golden State, the 45-point performance against the Lakers. He was about to get busy in game 3 against OKC. I don't know what that would have looked like. He had 20 at the half before he got hurt. He's an elite playoff performer. I don't think people realize that because the Grizzlies haven't had much success in the West. Do you think the Pacers would have the same success that they're having in the East if they were in the West? Like, say if they got rid of conferences.
That was largely due to Ja's inability to knock down consistent jump shots. That was his fault. Now, don't get me wrong. Tyrese Haliburton at the long ball line wasn't very good, but Tyrese Haliburton in the mid-range was better. I think Tyrese Haliburton at the rim, Ja Morant may play above the rim, but he hasn't played above the rim nearly as much this season as he has in the past, and I think he's doing that to preserve himself. But I feel like Tyrese Haliburton's shot creation has gotten much better than it was in the past. I think his counters are a lot better, and the idea of them playing in the West, I mean, that really doesn't bother me at all. Off the strength that, I mean, this team I think they were a top 4 team in the NBA the last 60 games of the season. I mean, I think they were 45 and 10, something like that, 48 and 12.
Yeah, they had a good, yeah.
It was rolling. They were absolutely rolling. And then when I think about what Tyrese Haliburton brings, I don't think that Ja Morant puts Jaren Jackson. He doesn't put Desmond Bain in space that Tyrese Haliburton would put them in. No. I don't
So
think so.
where you got Tyrese ranked that in point guards? Like top what?
I think we can have a real conversation about him being top 5. Yes. So Luka, SGA, Curry, Brunson, and I had I'm a big fan of the kid in Sacramento, not Sacramento. I keep saying Sacramento, but the kid in San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox. I'm a big fan of him. Him and Trey, but I feel like Tyrese Haliburton, bigger, not as good a scorer, not as good a bucket getter, but better distributor. I feel like better with the ball, less turnovers. I feel like he is right there at that 4 or 5 spot, right there.
So what does Ja have to do to get back in the mix? Like, where do you have him right now? What does he have to do to get back in the mix to like be up there with these other guards in the top 5?
His jump shot has to get better. He's got to be more of a threat in the mid range and at the long ball line. 100% he does.
I don't understand why he doesn't get to the mid range. I watch him when he gets in the mid range. It's a nice bucket. He need to do it more consistently. He look nice when he get to the mid range.
He will actually defend too, and Ja will compete on the defensive end. I like that about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I seen that improve.
Yes.
I think that came from him playing with Marcus Smart. I think he learned a lot because I seen a big improvement this season. He played a lot better defense this season. I really did see it.
I think that Ja has gotten passed up though. I mean, I don't think that we're talking about the same Ja that we was talking about like when he was top 5 as a point guard like 2-3 years ago. Like I think we passed that now.
Yeah, I think that injury slowed him down. Then with them starting that new offense at the beginning of the season, I mean, I was looking at Ja in the corner at the beginning of the season. They had Vince Williams bringing up the ball and everybody else bringing up the ball, but Ja, I think that slowed him down. After Taylor got fired, I think when they enforced that new offense, it helped Ja because I was looking at the game when they played Cleveland. He had the 45-point game. He was on a hot streak at the end of the season. We weren't winning with all the injuries and everything going on, but he was on a hot streak with scoring. But hey, man, we're going to see, man.
Yes, we are. All right, brother. Good to talk to you.
Yes, sir.
What up?
Salute, Chill. How you doing?
What's up, brother?
Hey, Chill, I got 2 quick questions for you, and then I got a comment. I want to piggyback off the last dude that was just on. That's why I jumped on to talk to you. Tyrese Haliburton is having a hell of a playoff run. He's a great point guard, but the recency bias that the basketball community lights up, I think it's a little crazy. So my question is to you. I don't know if y'all have talked about this. In the next 5 years, if you had to pick a point guard to start your team, would you rather pick Cade Cunningham or a name you didn't mention with this guy previously, or Tyrese Haliburton?
Haliburton. I just think he's better as a league guard. I think we live in a space, and this isn't recency bias. Tyrese Haliburton is an all-pro. I care about what you've done in the past. I care about what you've done. I care about what you've done over the course of years. I'm not just living in what you did right now. I'm not one of those people. That's why I feel the way I do about Jason Tatum. I don't care that, you just got busy in these playoffs. I care about the fact that Julius Randle has always been a damn good player. Always been a damn good player. It's just now he's putting it together in the playoffs. But he's always been awesome. He's always been a 19-9, 22-8 guy. Always. It's just now he's putting it together. Once he figured it out and became a quick hit guy and stopped thinking so much and started just rocking, now he's putting it together. Those things that he was doing in the regular season, which made him an all-pro, which got him the most improved, which made him an all-star, which made him those things. He's now putting that together in the playoffs, finally. Well, Tyrese Haliburton has been doing this for years. I think I said this 2-3 years ago that I said, and I'm on record saying it, I think that in 2 or 3 years, like we're going to have a conversation that Tyrese Haliburton is the best league guard in the game. I said that.
But OG, can't the same thing be said for Cade? I know they were both third-team All-NBA. Cade was an All-Star this year, 26, 6-9, 47% from the field, 23 years old. I mean, and you got to remember, there were games in the regular season where we looked at Tyrese and 8 points, and the confidence was one thing for sure. But Pascal, he ended up being the all-star representing them, and he was really the lead guy for most of the games. But like I said, I mean, Tyrese has turned it on in the playoffs, and he is the guy right now. But I just feel like Cade has had a better year and looking upwards because he's not playing with another all-star on the Detroit team.
Nope.
And the flip that they made from last year to this year and say what Cade did right now, I mean, can't you project that Cade? Can't you make an argument that Cade is just he's
Well, make it
projected
then.
to?
Let's hear it. Why is Cade 5 years from now? Why is Cade better than Tyrese Haliburton? Go.
Well, right now, just looking at from last year to this year, he's escalated his points. He's up to 26 points per game. He was an
Which is
all-star.
now before you go any further, stop right there,
Uh-huh.
BD. So
Yeah.
he went from 25 and a half to 26. So that's not that much of it. That's not that much of it. Or 20, he went from 23 to 26, something like that.
Well,
23, he went from 22 and a half to 25, something like that. It really wasn't that, it wasn't that huge of a gap, but keep going.
but you got to remember too, OG, when you playing on a bad team that got 14, 16 wins and you're the only guy scoring, you're going to be putting up more shots. I don't know what the numbers are, but I bet his shot attempts are lower this year because you add a guy like Malik Beasley,
Mhm.
you add a guy like Tim Hardaway Jr. who's putting up more shots.
Sure.
I just was very impressed with Cade Cunningham this year, and they had
Was too.
the first round with New York. It was a tough matchup, but he's 23 years old.
Yep.
I just feel like he's and I love Tyrese, but just the resume of the 82 games and then being an all-star and into the playoffs, I just feel like it was much more consistent and had more value on the team's success compared to Tyrese in the regular season. I can't make that argument for the playoffs if that makes sense.
You can.
But I think Cade right now. I would take him, but you can make an argument for Al Halliburton. But I just think the
100%.
recency bias that these guys are taking it's crazy.
So first of all, let's discuss this recency bias that you're talking about. So again, Cade Cunningham, he basically just came on the scene. So let's start there. Tyrese Haliburton has been an all-star in the past. Tyrese Haliburton has been an all-pro in the past. So this isn't a guy who just showed up. Cade is the one who just showed up. Let's be clear about that. He was on a team that was awful last year. He got hurt the year before that and missed almost the whole season. So Cade is the one who just showed up. Tyrese Haliburton has been doing what he's doing now. He's been doing this for a number of years now. This is the same Tyrese Haliburton who had a stretch last year where he went 20 and 20, and he went 20 and 20 with one turnover, 20 and 10 with no turnovers. There isn't a distributor in the game who's taking care of the basketball better than him. 100%. That's the essence of the lead guard. Now, I can appreciate you talking about Tyrese, and I can appreciate you talking about Cade Cunningham as a bucket getter, 100%, because you can't survive in this league today if you can't score. But Tyrese Haliburton, 100% can do that. He showed you that last night. And not only in the playoffs, he showed you that throughout the course of the season. Sure, I might have an 8-point game here. Sure, I might have an 11-point game here. But I've also seen Cade Cunningham turn the ball over 10 times in a game. You're not helping us when you do that.
That's true.
You're not doing that. So, again, when I think about Cade Cunningham, and I think about what he's going to be, I love his prospect. But if I'm giving the basketball to this guy and I want him to run my unit, it's Tyrese Haliburton.
That's fair. That's fair. I got one more quick question for you, one comment. With maybe this question will be better to ask you in a couple of weeks, but right now, currently, is Sam Presti in the same class as a Pat Riley, Jerry West, and Jerry Krause, just based off what he's built in Oklahoma City?
No, because they haven't won.
Okay, that's the one point. Okay, some people are putting that out, but he hasn't won.
Nope.
Okay.
Yep.
Last comment I want to make to you. I don't know if you remember 2 years ago, I jumped on your stream and I told you that the Knicks in a year or so are going to trade for Karl Anthony Towns. I'm gonna say this right now: if they don't win tomorrow, if they don't win tomorrow, do not be shocked if they try to make a play for Devin Booker. Devin Booker has ties to CAA. Look who his agent is. Look who he represents. I'll leave it at that, and I know where to find you, OG. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to you, brother. Out. What up?
Yo, what up, Chill?
What's up, brother?
What's up? What's up? Yeah, I'm these playoffs, man. I don't even know how I feel about like best player rankings anymore because and I'm starting to see like the depth on the teams is more important, and I'm starting to praise more like players that other players can play good around you too, rather than just an individual player. And I actually think that if the Pacers see OKC in the finals, I think the Pacers are going to beat OKC. I think it's going to be similar to last year's finals. how the Celtics handled Dallas in 5
So
because
you got them
Dallas is
swerving
a
Oklahoma City.
I actually do. I had them serving them in 5 or 6 because I think that the OKC like Dallas, they do play great defense, which is a plus, but they offense is still heavily predicated on one player. And although OKC defense is good, I don't think they are suited to play a team like the Pacers. That it's a bunch of guys on that team that can go off. I don't think anybody on the OKC can stop Pascal Siakam. I think he's a mismatch for Chet and for J Dub because of how good he is in the mid range.
Sure.
And then if he's not going, Halliburton can go off any night. Neesmith is great at shooting threes. Miles Turner is great at shooting threes. Obi Toppin is a vertical threat and he can shoot threes. I don't think that OKC is suited for that. I think they're good at stopping ball dominant individual players in the West, like a Jokic, like an Anthony Edwards, like a Ja. And I don't think they're built to be a team like Indiana.
So if you have a team like Indiana where the ball is moving, but to counter that, you have a connected defense like what Oklahoma City has, I think you have just as good a chance against them as anybody because I think what you're trying to sell me is you're trying to sell me that they're individual defenders and they're built to stop individual players when they have one of the best team defenses that I've ever seen. I mean, they weren't individually trying to stop Joker. That wasn't what they were doing. As a unit, they knew that they had to jump him. Whenever Joker got the ball, or whether it was Caruso or it was Chet, when he would get into the lane, they would swarm him like a pack of bees. And now Joker was relegated to throwing the ball out to MPJ. He was relegated to throwing the ball out to Aaron Gordon. And then those guys would scatter and they would recover great. So even though you do have a bunch of guys in Indiana that are go-get-it guys, I think individually they can handle that. Lou Dort can handle one-on-one. Not only can Lou Dort handle one-on-one, Caruso can handle one-on-one, but they can do it within the team concept. And I think that's what helps them. I feel like Tyrese Haliburton, he is going to be tested the most. If they end up getting by the Knicks, I think this would be a great test to see how good I think he really is, just as a distributor. Now, to say that, I wanted to pose the question to you. Take Tyrese Haliburton off this crew and put Cade Cunningham in this offense. How much different do they look?
Yeah, I don't think Indiana is as good as if you replace Tyrese with Cade.
Why
I
not?
think that with Cade, I think that the ball would probably stick a little bit more to him. And I just think that I don't know. I just think they would play different with Tyrese. And one thing that's impressed me with Tyrese as well is his off-ball defense. I didn't know he was that good. Well, I did know he was that good because he did it in the Olympics. But he's great at playing the passing lanes.
Yep.
I haven't really seen Cade like play the passing lanes like that, getting those quick transition buckets off steals. So I don't think that the Pacers. I think that Tyrese's pace. I don't think they would have that same pace with Cade.
I don't think so neither. I just feel like Tyrese Haliburton, I just think he puts you in different spaces to score. I feel like he puts you in different spots to be able to score. I think he orchestrates the offense way differently than those other guys do. And I feel like that's the difference between you guys advancing and on top of that, you guys advancing and you guys going home. And on top of that, I feel like Tyrese Haliburton, I feel like what he does in terms of the engine, in terms of the ball handler. Classic, I've said this countless times, man. If I'm playing off Tyrese Haliburton, I'm cutting to the rim harder. I'm coming off screens harder because I know that I'm involved in the O. If I got a guy that's scoring the basketball, I mean, I know he's going to involve me, but I don't know how much he's going to involve me as opposed to Haliburton. He looking for me, and he looking for me first. I want to run with somebody like that.
Right, and I do think that sometimes that can be a problem. I have seen times where the Pacers they overpass.
Yep,
Sometimes you do need a player to just take over like that.
go get
But
it.
I do think in the long run, I do think for 3 quarters, the way the Pacers play, I don't think you can play ball dominant for 4 quarters of the game. I think you should be able to switch it up. And I think that the Pacers are the best at switching it up. You can get your other guys involved the first 3 quarters, and then you have Pascal or Tyrese that can take over in the fourth
Sure.
quarter. And as opposed to OKC, I don't really trust J Dub taking over a game in the fourth quarter. The only person I really think can take over in the fourth is going to be an SGA, and he can do that. I think SGA is going to average like 30 to 40 points, like closer to 40 points in the finals. But I think that plays into what the Pacers want him to do. They want him to score that many points, but they want to cool down those other guys. And I think that's why I think that the top teams in the East, I think they're better than the top teams in the West because they play better team basketball.
Well,
Which is like
I think we already discussed that, Classic. I mean, for people to still be on this, the East is weak thing, like that goes in one ear and out the other with me. I think that narrative is so old. I understand that, like when you get to like 7, 8, 9, okay, sure. All right, we can, like the Miami Heat. There's a separation between them and like Minnesota and Sacramento. All right, I think I can get with that. But when you talk about the top teams in the league, like I don't think that there's much separation between Cleveland and Houston. I don't think that there's much separation between the Knicks and the Lakers. No, I don't think so. Absolutely not. I don't. So, all right, brother. Good to talk to you.
All right, man. And real quick, man, I'm back off on Rudy Gobert, man. I hope the Minnesota can win tonight, but I'm ready for him to get off of Rudy Gobert. But you have a good one, though.
All right, brother. Yes, sir. What up? What up?
OG, what up?
What's up, brother?
Hey, so OG, I got a few things. So I see everybody talking about the Pacers, which they are a good team. But why nobody? Have you heard anybody giving Carlisle, like Rick Carlisle, his just due? He is a championship coach.
We've been talking about that, and
okay.
I mean, can't we say this? Can't we say the same thing about? I don't want to overrate Rick Carlisle because I think Rick Carlisle's a damn good coach, but
yeah,
Rick Carlisle won an NBA championship in 2011.
2011, yeah,
that was
but
15,
it's still
that was almost 15 years ago. It's the same thing as Doc Rivers, right? Don't forget, after he won that NBA championship, he didn't get out of the first round.
No,
it's the first year.
He
last year was the first year he got out the first round since he won the NBA championship in 2011. 13 years ago.
Word. And then my other thing was speaking on Ant. So other than like the off ball movement, what else do you think he needs to work on? Because you still think he's going to be the best guard. I think you said in the next 5 years or 4.
Within the next 5 years. Within the next 3 years, I think he's going to be the league MVP. Within the next 5 years, I think he's going to be the best guard in the game. And
so, what else do you think he need to work on besides the off ball movement?
The off ball movement, I think, is going to set up so many other things. I think that he needs to be more consistent in his mid range. I think he needs to trust his mid range a little bit more. I think that his ball handling and his perception, not depth perception, that's not what I'm saying. I think that his ability to play, make, and process defenses with the ball, he's definitely got to work on that. Understanding who to get the ball to, when to get him the ball. I've seen different times, and I know that I sound like such an old head, but I've seen so many different times when Rudy is diving to the basket and he's wide open underneath the basket.
Yeah, and he don't get it to him.
And I'm thinking to myself, and I know I sound crazy, but I know I sound crazy when I say this, but I'm thinking about Magic is getting him the ball.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
Stockton is getting him the ball. Jason Kidd is getting him the ball. Steve Nash is getting him the basketball. He's putting him in space to score. Jordan is going to get him the ball. 100%.
Yeah, that's an easy two.
Easy.
Yeah, easy two. Easy
and
two.
I don't think the game has slowed down for Ant. So those are the things that I feel like he needs to work on. Processing the defense a little bit more, understanding how to work off screens and to get open, and how to play off the basketball. I think that if he could get that stuff down, everything that I feel he's going to be that.
And my last thing was, I know you've seen a lot of basketball. When it comes to OKC, have you ever seen like a guard rotation defensively like this deep when it comes to Dort, Caruso, Wallace, and like have you ever seen a defense like this? Guard wise,
I want to say the Pistons, but they like when they had Chauncey and Rip
and Tayshaun
and Tayshaun and Lindsey Hunter coming off the bench, right? But they didn't have 6 guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
the Bulls didn't have when they had Jordan and BJ and Paxson, right? They didn't and Scottie Pippen and like those wing defenders. Like they ain't have 6 guys. No,
like,
they didn't.
They just keep throwing it at you, pretty much throwing it at you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm watching these dudes, TD, and it's times when I'm watching the game, and it looked like it's like 8 or 9 of them out there.
You feel me? It
I'm
look
trying to
like they
figure
don't
out where the
drop
hole
off.
is. I'm trying, and I've seen enough basketball that I do know how to process the defense. But I'm looking and I'm trying to figure out, all right, where's the gap here? What am I looking for?
Where the
Because
drop off at? Like,
it,
cause
it, it looks like it looks like it's 8 of them dudes, and they recover so quick. It's like, God damn, we got to get more ball movement. But when we
yep,
do that, they ship so quickly too. So man, they something else.
they
Those
something else.
dudes are something else, man. They are.
And my last thing is I know you like to do the player comparisons. Like in the 90s or 80s, however, who would you compare Tyrese to? Like just point guard wise, like
Oh,
all
Tyrese
around game.
Haliburton. Every time
Hmm.
I watch him, he reminds me so much of Derek Harper. That's who he reminds me of.
Oh,
He reminds me of Derek.
dang.
He ain't the,
I
he
gotta
ain't
do
the,
my homework then.
he ain't the
Yeah.
defender that Derek Harper is, but he reminds me a lot of Derek Harper when I watch him. A
Mm.
lot.
'Cause I forgot the guy's name, but someone told me Terry Porter. Do you see that a little
I
bit, or
can
you
see a
don't
little
really
bit of
see
Terry
that?
Porter in terms of the
Cause
pace,
see,
in terms of his pace and the way he
yeah,
plays. Yeah, I can see the Terry Porter thing, but I
okay.
see more Derek Harper in him.
More Derek
If,
Harper.
if,
I gotta
if
do
I'm
my homework on Derek.
if I'm thinking about guards from the past, that's who he reminds me of. Yes.
Word. All right,
All right,
OG,
brother.
I
Good to
appreciate
talk
it.
to you. Yep. Yo. What's
What's up, Chill?
up, brother?
Yeah. I'm just sitting here listening to the show. Let me start. I don't want no Rudy Gobert hate, but no, Rudy don't get the ball like that because he can't catch. He doesn't have hands. And if you ever play ball with a guy that's talented, but he got no hands, if you watch him, bro, he gets stripped. You pass it to him on a nice dime, he's gonna drop the ball. That's why he doesn't get the ball. Like he's wide open. Man, do not throw that ball to Rudy because he's gonna 9 times out of 10 he's from the ball. It's sad that his hands. He can't be gifted in everything. The dude is super gifted. So I don't want no Rudy hate with him on that.
So where does the 13 points a game in the playoffs come from? Because it can't just come off all putbacks and just dunks.
Oh
I mean,
no.
like he does,
Yeah.
he might not catch it as consistently as you would like him to. Because 2 cents, I ain't gonna lie to you. There's times when he drops the ball and I'm like, mother, catch the basketball, god damn it, and I get upset with him. But I mean, he's not dropping the ball all the time, and there are times when he's wide open where you could basically just walk it over to him how wide open he is, right? And with that
Yeah.
being with that being said, I do have to give him more credit for that, right? But to your point, he could have better hands. Yes.
Right. That's the only reason why. You see what we see going on. You be like, just give it to Rudy and he can do this. See, you have to grade guys based upon their actual ability. Look, I'm not applauding a guy that's 7 foot that dunked the basketball. Now, I'm grading them based. That's nothing. If I do the 5'9" do it, yeah. So Rudy has to get graded on a curve based upon what he is. And I mean, he's not that dude. He's not that dude. But let me skip back over to your Hallie real quick. Hallie got that overrated for a reason. Now he's playing better now, but he earned that. But he's the flavor of the month. They did the same thing with Tatum. Man, you could have Googled Tatum all year. He was top 5 NBA player player in the world. Now, flavor of the month was Brunson about a week or two ago. Oh, he's the clutchest, best this, and New York getting the title and all this. He's not the flavor of the month no more. So people are going to just keep switching because Haliburton still has to play a couple more games. When I watched him, he can drop, he can disappear too. He's got 2 good years that we were talking about in the playoffs. Just look at his stats. He's there. He's arriving, but people trying to crown him too early. In my opinion, they're crowning him a little too early.
When I listen to you, though, since it's interesting because I mean, you talk about these guys. Who's been in your estimation? And I ain't even talking about today. Like since you've been watching basketball, give me somebody that's been consistent in the playoffs. Because I feel like when I talk to you, the playoffs are what matter to you. And when we get to the playoffs, what you do consistently matters to you. Give me somebody in your estimation that has been consistent in the playoffs.
Yeah, but understand by the word when I say consistency. My formula that I know, I ain't giving my secret sauce out, but you got to remember on Brunson will drop you off for 35, 40 one day. come back and give you 17. So you got to realize the superstars, this is what they're doing. But if you use the word consistently, this is what happens consistently. Oh, I ain't forget when I watched Haliburton go off one game, that he disappeared the next game. I watched OKC and Jalen Williams and SGA sit at that podium and look with the dry face because they had crappy games. They dropped 14 and 17, but what people are not.
J-Dub, I think he had 30. The game that they just had on Monday. What did he go for 32 or something like that? The game before that, I think he had like 11, something like that.
Yeah. It happens, but that's the consistency. I understand the line of consistency. If I see my star player come out there and drop 43 and on a great game, oh my God, the next game, you better take the under because he might give you 17, he might give you 14. And that's what's been happening consistently with the stars. So don't even expect it. That don't mean they garbage, but they'll talk junk about them like they are. But if you look at the trend, when you get a chance, just look at the numbers. Like, yeah,
no, I get it. I get it because essentially what you're telling me, this is how averages work out, right?
Exactly.
So this is exactly how averages work. This is how a guy averages 28. This is how a guy averages 25 because he might add 18, but then the next night he go for 37, and then he'll go for 22, and then he'll go for 28. But I'm not going to consistently get 25 every night.
Yeah, they're not going to do you like Porzingis. Porzingis averaged 19 points in the season, and then give you 4 points. See, that's how you get beat. When people do that, you're not even close to your average. You know, you got to at least be close to your season average because we're used to you giving this output, and now you're not giving it to us. Now we got to get it from someone else. And that's why some of these teams are not being able to produce, make it look formidable because I already know tonight, put your money on the Timberwolves, because it's a flip-flop game. When guys play horrible, the next game they come in and play good, and then the guy that did a good job, he's going to do bad. Borderline okay.
I might get a 22 and 10 and 5 assist game from Julius Randle. I might get a 30 and 7 game from Anthony Edwards tonight. Yeah, they're gonna go nuts. Ridiculous. I don't know if that's
That's how to look at the graph. But yeah, that's what's up, chill, man. Hey, I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. You know where to find me at, brother. What up?
Why do you and Ox have a huge bias for the 90s and 2000s? Get with the new times or get out.
Why are you here if you think that I have a bias for the 90s? Because I'm not going to change my logic.
Why do you and Ox have a...
You just said that. Yeah, that's what I figured. What up?
Nope. How's it going, Joe?
What's up, brother?
Hey, so I got here a little late. Was there something specific you guys were talking about tonight?
Just talking about Oklahoma City and Minnesota preview and where SGA is. Where is SGA going to be amongst the players in today's game? Getting to the NBA Finals if he wins the NBA championship. Tyrese Haliburton, has he cemented himself as a top 15 player in the game? Can I comfortably talk about him like that? Stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I usually tune in every morning on the TikTok streams. I catch these ones here and there when I can, but I'm personally a Thunder fan, so I don't really like to give my opinions on that because I can admit that I'm biased sometimes. But I guess my question in general still about the Thunder, like when you look at their drafting recently, do you think any team's been able to hit the way that they have?
Yeah, Houston has, and Detroit has. Yes, sir. Detroit got Jalen Duren in the draft. They got Isaiah Stewart in the draft. They got Ivy in the draft. He had some misfortune and he ended up breaking his leg. But yeah, there have been some teams that have hit in the draft. Yes.
Yeah, like I said, I'm biased in general, but like I was talking more like in terms of the spot that they had in the draft.
Yeah.
Like last year getting Topic at 12, getting Case and Wallace at 12, even though they traded for him.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems like they always get a hit no matter where they're picking. And then if you did a redraft of the Chet draft or the Paolo draft, I feel like Chet and J-Dub would probably go 2 and 3.
They definitely would go higher. No doubt about that. J-Dub would not be around at 12 when he picked. No, he would not be.
That's what I'm saying. It seems like they get a hit at pick 12 every single year, and they got 14 this year. So,
which is kind of crazy, BP, if you think about how they got that pick. That was that number 12 pick. That was the Clippers pick in the trade for SGA and Paul George.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and they ended up getting that. So good to talk to you, brother. You know where to find me at. Yep. Speaking of finding, guys, I'm going to find my way. I'm doing playback tonight. I'm doing the Minnesota OKC game at 8:30 tonight. So you guys know where to find me. I will be there. It was good to see you guys tonight. I am not hard to find. If you're looking for me, I'm on TikTok, 9 a.m., Monday to Friday. If I'm not there, you can find me on the panel every day from 11 to 2 on the Players Choice Network right here on YouTube. If you can't find me there, you can find me weeknights right here on Showdown Hoops Network. Hit the subscribe button, and it'll give you notifications when I'm live. If you can't find me here, me and my man Big Ox, we do it on Thursday at 4 o'clock on the Players Choice Network, Chill with Chill. We do it again Saturday at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock Eastern. So I will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. I will talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to talk to you guys tonight. This was awesome.